Now let's talk about the knowledge you gain. What do you expect to learn from this class? First, expect to know food preparation steps. For example, if I'm making muffins, what do I do with the flour and the oil and the water or the eggs, whatever you're using for that? What do I do first? You'll understand concepts by creating and testing hypotheses. So just imagine we were talking about pie and why we add butter instead of oil. But we're going to be able to test the difference during lab. And when you can test those differences, you'll figure out why and what happens when I add oil instead of butter. How will the flour turn out? You'll understand the functions of ingredients in food applications. For example, if I'm making mayonnaise and I add all the oil at once and I try to mix it, what happens? What am I trying? Why do I add the 1 tablespoon at a time? What is it going to change in the mayonnaise? Why is oil needed to be added in that kind of way? And what is its function during that whole process? You'll be understanding food science principles and how food components act under certain circumstances. There is a reason why when you're making cream puffs, you start up at 450 and you lower your way down to 325 when you're baking it. But why? There are circumstances for that, and then that will help you reach a high quality product. And that's what you want to make sure you understand. So my name is Zainab Al-Zubi, and I am a senior at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. And for the longest time, I put off this class because of the pandemic. But now that we can safely and properly work together and that we can be in person, I have to say, this is probably one of the most engaging classes I have ever taken. Everything is provided for you, which really took the stress off. All you needed to do was walk in, conduct the lab, and walk out. It was so easy and fun. You don't need to be worried about where to find those ingredients because it's all right there for you. We even got a chance to make butter from scratch. That was definitely mind-boggling. I was most excited about the last few weeks of class because we talked all about baking and I enjoy that so much. But sometimes it's hard for me to make the perfect outcome. Like if I'm making a pie, how can I really get the crust to look and taste great? But after taking this class, I'm much more aware of the food science principles behind it and what probably went wrong when I was doing it by myself. Now I know how to properly mix ingredients and get the best pastries out of it. So although this class seems very fun, to get the most out of it, you need to put in the effort. So expect to work around 6 to 9 hours for a 3-hour class. And that is because you need to do other assignments for the class, you need to prepare before class, and link all of your knowledge together at the end of class. If you really want to succeed for the grade that you're aiming, then you need to put in the effort. Start working on lab quizzes a week before the due date. So this is super important. Lab quizzes are open. There are pre-lab quizzes and the lab write-up. I would suggest working on these ahead of time. You have 2 labs a week and questions of the post-lab and the pre-lab are based on those 2 labs. So try to work on them whenever you are thinking about that specific lab. For example, I start working on my lab quizzes that are pre-lab a week ahead of time so I can go through the book, watch the videos, do all of that as I'm answering the questions. For the post lab, I open them when we do the lab. So if we did the lab, I'll open the post lab right after that and start working on that specific lab. And I'll do the same for the next lab. So work on that so you get things done ahead of time while the information is still super fresh in your mind. You want to attend office hours. And this is very important because you want to make yourself known to your professor. That's number 1. Also, if you go to office hours, when someone explains it to you, like when you are in front of them in person, it's much better and you can understand better because you can kind of ask questions back and forth than if it's just through email. And then if you make that strong connection with your professor or your TAs, they're more likely to write you up a recommendation letter or refer you to other people. You really want to build those connections. And by meeting with people, that's the only way that you can really make connections. Read the textbook. This goes alongside with the video recording. There's a video recording that Dr. Ma posts a week before lab, and you're able to watch it for the labs of that week. So what you want to do is first read the textbook ahead of time because it gives you all of the information, even like the nitty-gritty stuff. When you're watching the video recording, you can go back through the textbook along with the video recording to look at the most important concepts and, piece together things that you might have been missing when you were reading. Prepare before attending labs. Look through your lab notebook. What are we making today? Is it a fruit lab? Are we working with vegetables? Are we working with meat? What are we doing today? Super important that you know and you're prepared, mentally prepared to walk in and start that lab. You want to apply those theories that you learned from the lecture materials into a hands-on food application. This is really important because you've read through the entire book. You know how to make cookies, but now you're going to apply that mixing method in lab, and that really, really helps to stick that information in your mind. So you really want to be prepared for what you're doing that time and know what you're doing from the theory to apply it to lab. So during my time at the FSHN 232, we made a lot of different creations. First, we had a pies lab. So this was towards the end of the semester. Some of my favorite labs that I started taking pictures of. We made a lemon meringue pie. So basically we made the pie crust from scratch. We also had the lemon custard in the middle, and then we whipped up egg whites and made the beautiful meringue on top and baked it all together, which turned out very delicious, but a little bit on the sour side. But I like that sourness. So if you like it, this lab will probably be really, really fun. We also got to make butter from scratch, which was really fun. We basically took heavy whipping cream and whipped it up for a long time until we got butter, and we were able to kind of shape it and squeeze out all the excess water, and it was like a really fun lab. We also made pastries. So from right to left, we made cream puffs. In the middle, you can see there it has some whipped cream. We made biscuits, and this was really hard in the beginning with like the folding techniques and rolling out to really get the flakiness in the center. And we also made some basic muffins. I think I could have baked those a little bit longer to get a nice brown top, but I ended up, taking them out a tad bit early. We also made cookies. So we made chocolate chip and peanut butter cookies. So on top, you can see the chocolate chips. Probably could have added a little bit more chocolate chips. And we made peanut butter cookies. I was also able to make like a fun texture on top. We were able to kind of design it. So it kind of looks like Nutter Butter to me, which was a lot of fun. We also made cinnamon rolls, and this was one of my favorites. I love making cinnamon rolls, and I love to add those extra pecans in the center because it gives that crunch. And that's the best part about my cinnamon rolls, in my opinion. We were able to make the yeast bread first, and then we made the cinnamon filling and we filled it, and then we rolled it up and baked it. So it was a lot of fun. So this may seem intimidating at first, but trust me, the class is relaxing and fun. Well, with that being said, you're still going to have to put in effort and work to understand what's going on, but you don't necessarily need to get everything right from the get-go. It's a learning process. Allow yourself to make mistakes, but be open to correcting those mistakes. So don't just walk away without getting all your doubts cleared up. This will surely make you more confident when you're practicing home cooking and baking. If you are a dietetic student and you want to continue in food service, this is a great way to learn how to cook properly and use these principles that you've learned in your job application later on. Thanks for watching. I wish you guys all the best in your future.